They said retirement would be peaceful, that small-town living meant lemonade on the porch and neighbors who knew your dog's name. But no one warned my mum that moving to Westbrooke Hills would mean being told her face was a violation of community standards. Let's rewind. My mum, Margot Ellison, moved into that quiet cul-de-sac in Westbrook 42 years ago, before HOAs were trendy and lawn chairs came with power plays. She raised 2 kids, buried a husband, and planted over 200 rose bushes, each more stubborn than the last. Her house wasn't a mansion, but it had history charm, and those little carved initials on the porch swing. That was love. That was life. Westbrook Hills used to be the kind of place where folks waved from driveways and borrowed sugar without a background check. But things started to shift when Camilla Stroud showed up. Camilla rolled in with a silver Mercedes, a trophy husband who traveled too much, and a business card that read, "Lifestyle Architect. Redefine your surroundings." Nobody knew what it meant, and honestly, nobody asked. At first, she was just extra matching tracksuits with her Yorkies, holiday wreaths in July, and enough Botox to freeze a river. But when the HOA president, a kind old vet named Hal, suddenly resigned for health reasons, Camilla stepped in like she'd been planning it for years. Spoiler, she had. Within weeks, new rules appeared. No porch lights past 9 p.m. Mailboxes must be earth-toned. Lawn gnomes were banned as visual pollutants. But the real kicker, a clause about demographic harmony and appearance-related disruptions. It sounded like nonsense until Camilla weaponized it. One May afternoon, I stopped by my mum's house with lemonade and gardening gloves. She was on her porch, sun hat, on tea in hand. Just being her. That's when Camilla strutted up the path. No hello, no smile, just a clipboard and a sour face. She looked my mother dead in the eye and said, "Mrs. Ellison, your appearance has caused discomfort to several neighbors. For the sake of community cohesion, we recommend you remain indoors during peak visibility hours." Let that sink in, visibility hours. She then handed my 73-year-old mother a citation for aesthetic disruption and walked off like she'd just delivered a pizza. I was frozen. My mom. She didn't flinch, but something in her broke. Her fingers dug into the armrest of her chair. Her eyes dulled. It was like watching dignity being stripped with a smile. Over the next few days, the porch went quiet. Her rose bushes wilted. She stopped waving to neighbors. Even the birds seemed to avoid our yard. It wasn't just sadness, it was erasure. A slow, silent, disappearing act. I asked her why she didn't fight back. Her answer: "Because no one would stand with me. Camilla has them all scared." That was the moment I realized this wasn't just personal. It was systemic. Camilla wasn't just enforcing rules. She was reshaping reality, and no one was stopping her. So I decided I would. First, I dug through the real HOA bylaws, buried deep in a state registry site. Surprised, Camilla had rewritten over a dozen rules. She'd inserted vague language about visual flow and energy-altering appearances, all legally meaningless but terrifying in practice. She'd even created a board of community purity, which turned out to be her yoga buddies from another county. Then I found out the truth about Hal's resignation. Camilla had threatened to expose his prescription history if he didn't step down. Another board member she'd blackmailed with old tax records. This wasn't neighborhood management. This was a hostile takeover. I started knocking on doors, talking to neighbors, collecting stories. Everyone had one. A flag taken down. A kid's drawing erased a letter, accusing someone's driveway of expressing aggression. The fear was real, but so was the rage. I rallied 17 households, enough to file a motion for an emergency vote. We printed flyers. Enough is enough. Emergency HOA meeting. Take back your block. We didn't leave them in mailboxes. We posted them everywhere. On trees, bulletin boards, even taped to stop signs. One neighbor added, "Ask her why she told an elderly woman to hide her face." Camilla's response. A 4-minute video on the HOA website, standing in front of fake trophies, claiming she was a servant of harmony. My favorite part. When she said her critics were aesthetic extremists. But the night of the meeting, oh, she knew the community center was standing room. Only retirees' parents, teens with TikToks. Camilla walked in, late of course, beige blazer designer heels, and that fake Mona Lisa smile. She didn't know someone had taped our flyer to the podium. She peeled it off like it was acid. When she started to speak, someone shouted, "Point of order." It was Cheryl Maddox, whose garage book club had been shut down for violating visual clutter ordinances. The room snapped to attention. We laid it all out. The illegal bylaw, changes, the sham board, the intimidation tactics. I asked point blank, "Did you tell my mother to hide her face?" Camilla froze, and that's when the stories poured out. Mr. Hughes fined for leaving his walker on the porch. The Lees cited because their granddaughter drew a rainbow with chalk. A woman who was warned that her headscarf violated neutral aesthetics. Each voice a dagger, each testimony a brick in the wall of truth. And then my mom stood. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. She said, "Growing old is not a crime. My face is not a disruption. And this neighborhood was not built on fear. It was built on front porches and waving to strangers and helping your neighbor carry groceries. And if that's gone, then what are we even protecting?" The room went silent. Then it exploded into applause. We voted. Camilla was removed. Her bylaws nullified. Her board dissolved. But we didn't stop there. Over 40 households signed a motion requiring Camilla to deliver handwritten apologies to every home she had cited. Within 21 days, it was poetic. Camilla, stripped of her power blazer, showed up in flats and a cardigan, clutching envelopes like they were made of thorns. Some neighbors ignored her. Others smiled sweetly. One kid popped confetti when she arrived. But the best moment, the day she reached our porch, Mom didn't even look at the envelope, just sipped her tea, raised a hand and waved, not with hatred, not with triumph, just peace. A week later, she joined the new HOA board, not to control, but to protect. She brought back the community garden, restarted the book club, and created a welcome box for every new resident: cookies, a neighborhood map, and a letter that read, "In this community, we don't enforce silence. We encourage conversation." The porch, it's full again. With laughter, with music, with life. And Camilla, well, no one really asks about her anymore. But just in case anyone forgets, we keep that apology letter framed right in the hallway, because sometimes the best revenge isn't a fine, it's flourishing.